This is a 2008 BMW X5. This is the N52 inline six-cylinder engine. And this is the first inline six-cylinder engine to feature Valvetronic. That is the N52. This is a normally aspirated port fuel injected engine. This is a very successful engine for BMW, but they discontinued it in favor of the turbocharged direct injection engine family for gasoline. This is Valvetronic. The way that I'm actually throttling the engine with Valvetronic is I'm controlling the lift of the individual intake valves. There, at idle, the lift will be very small, and there, as I accelerate and go to a, quote, using the term wide open throttle, there is no, quote, throttle control. I'm actually controlling the lift of the intake valve. So there, a much larger lift as engine load and speed increases. Now this has some very distinct advantages. One, it allows me to actually vary the lift of the intake valve for a very great opening, for wide open throttle, maximum acceleration, maximum power. This is the clever way to control engine speed and power output, and because I'm not working to create a vacuum in the intake manifold, I conserve a considerable amount of energy. Now I have an elaborate vacuum pump that's down, driven by the power steering pump. At the back of the power steering pump I have a vacuum pump that's going to provide vacuum for brake booster, etc., etc. Now here in my Valvetronic system we see the intake valve camshaft. Now this happens to be a cast camshaft that is machined with the individual lobes. Now on my particular model I also have a cast exhaust camshaft. It is possible to have the exhaust camshaft where I have individually machined cam lobes and a hollow tube. Now what I do is I use a method to expand the hollow tube and clamp the individual cams to the camshaft. Now here we see the cam carriers. I have the lower and upper carrier that completely unbolts from the cylinder head as a separate unit. Now here I have the intake camshaft and the upper bearing caps. The lower caps are actually cast as part of the cylinder head. And as I look here to the back, here we see the Valvetronic cam, and here is its actuator. And as you can see, I'm moving the gear, and it's actually moving the cam lobe to exaggerate the opening of an intake valve. Now here at the end of the Valvetronic eccentric shaft, we see this is a position sensor. This senses the position of the Valvetronic shaft. Now this engine has almost 200,000 miles on it. It's been very well taken care of and has used synthetic oil most of its life. And as you can see, it is very, very clean. Very little sludge and deposits. Here is the timing chain, and this has always been a problem here for BMW here in recent years. This is the actual roller chain, and this is a bush type roller chain, and as you can see, after 200,000 miles I have no deterioration on the guides, and the chain and sprocket look to be in excellent condition. Now I'm using various synthetic motor oils in the life of this engine, but primarily Mobil 1. Almost no deposits whatsoever. I don't have any type of ticking noise or tapping as a result of the hydraulic lash adjusters gumming up or sticking. Engine runs very smooth, and I have no oil consumption to speak of, with the exception of I have a leak. That's why I have removed the valve cover, and I'm going to be replacing it. Let's take a look at the new valve cover. Okay, here we see the plastic valve cover for the BMW N52 engine. Now, after it's been in service for long periods of time, it can actually warp and deteriorate. It's made out of plastic. Also, the crankcase ventilation system and the diaphragm that controls the flow of crankcase vapors is actually integral with it. And by the way, this is glued together. This doesn't come apart very easily. I'm not saying it's not impossible to replace it, but you'd actually have to cut it. What looks like a vacuum fitting, this is actually a vent. You don't want to put any type of vacuum hose or block this. This is actually the atmospheric side of the diaphragm, and the idea, what happens is that I'm able to regulate the flow of crankcase vapors. All of a sudden I start to evacuate the crankcase, then this diaphragm comes down and seals the passage, and then as the pressure builds up a little bit, it opens and allows the crankcase vapors to continue on. Now, underneath here, these are actually liquid vapor separators. I have a little disc type check valve that what happens, it allows the liquid to flow back, but then of course keeps liquid from flowing in. So this is little one-way check valves, and the actual vents are up here at the top. So they're going to be drawing in crankcase vapor here at the top, and any oil that gets carried along with it will settle and then flow back into the crankcase. Now, why is this apart? What happened here? Oh my. This was a brand new gasket. And this was purchased from kind of a unknown source online. The price was indeed reasonable. What happened? Well, installed it on the vehicle, no problems. And what happened? Initially, the oil leak was fixed, no problem. We were actually having trouble with oil filling this well and then spilling out here and dripping on the exhaust manifold. Well, we replaced this one, and what happened? Well, it worked fine for several weeks, and then all of a sudden, the first symptom was a strange condition where we start the engine. It would start and stall, and was actually setting a code for a lean mixture, but then of course once the engine started, it would idle normally and run properly, but it would set a code indicating a lean condition. And what was this? Well, this is actually an intake manifold vacuum leak. Yep, that's right. Here air was slipping in past the mass airflow meter. And that was rather frustrating. Didn't know exactly what was wrong, so what happened, went ahead and bought the bullet. And you say, well, sometimes you never learn. This is an online purchase of a new valve cover. Comes with a new gasket. Hopefully this one's going to be a little better. This is very reasonably priced. This was actually less than $100 plus shipping. Hopefully this will do much better. We're getting ready to install it on the vehicle, and of course I'll be transferring the Valvetronic bracket. I do have a new bracket with this, it's just that I took it off to make it easier to install. All the bolts are included, except obviously the bolts for the bracket, the 3 bolts for the bracket. So those I have to use from the other one. Here we have the new crankcase ventilation diaphragm. Remember, leave this port vented. I can go ahead and transfer this just to remind people, hey, don't put anything on there. So So we're getting ready to install it. One thing that happens, there is a bracket here that holds the beauty cover. Be sure and remove that, because you're going to have a hard time getting this to slip into the engine compartment with this bracket present. It will jam up against the AC lines. Alright, now here we're ready to install the valve cover. You'll notice that the cowling has been removed, especially here on the right side and the center. That's going to be very important, because you're going to have a hard time clearing the Valvetronic assembly there to get the new valve cover installed. Also, here we see all the new rubber gaskets. Be sure they're pushed firmly down into position. We don't recommend that you put anything on these. Oftentimes, if you try to use some type of silicone, the silicone expands and contracts at a different rate than the rubber and can actually cause a problem. So, this is a brand new valve cover. It didn't really cost much more than a gasket set, actually. Hopefully this is going to do well for us. This doesn't really have a specific brand, and sometimes that might be what gets me in trouble, but hey, that's where we're going. Had good luck before. So now, with the bracket for the beauty cover removed, let's see how well I can place this here. A little bit of a tight fit, just barely fits. Be careful not to catch the gasket, which is happening there. Gotta be careful. I'll go ahead and pause. Okay, the valve cover is now in place, and all of its basic torque bolts are carefully torqued. This is a difficult operation, not to belittle this. It just barely fits. And all of this cowling and this reinforcement bar must be removed. It's just not going to be possible. And you want to be very careful that you don't upset or damage the new valve cover or disrupt the gasket as you put it into position. Okay, here we're coming to a close. We've got the valve cover, the beauty cover back on. I got the reinforcement braces. And we've actually replaced this cowling with new cowling, because the old one had actually broken and split. So we're closing in. It'll be time for a road test here shortly.